In the rural darkness of 1970s India, a specific kind of predator emerged. He didn't use traps or elaborate schemes. He operated through a single, heavy downward strike to the side of the head, ending lives in seconds. Locals across Rajasthan and Punjab named him Kanpati Mar, the one who strikes beneath the ears. Over a few short years, this methodology left 72 people dead across 3 states. While high-level security forces and military commanders focused on the looming India-Pakistan war, this micro-level horror thrived in the background. The national distraction provided the perfect cover for a serial killer to operate in the shadows. But the true terror of Kanpati Mar wasn't the body count. It was the realization that his lethal methodology was a direct product of the very communities he terrorized. The story begins in 1950s Jaipur with a boy named Shankar Prajapati. When he failed to meet the academic expectations of his middle-class family, his parents cut off all financial support, leaving him to survive on his own while still a child. Desperation pushed Shankar into the narrow alleys of petty crime. He began slipping into temples to steal from donation boxes and burgling homes just for a future parties to stop his hunger. When the community caught him, they didn't call the police. Instead, angry mobs repeatedly surrounded the boy, striking him about the head and face with their fists and whatever blunt objects were at hand. This is a textbook example of labeling theory. When a society violently brands a starving child as a monster, the child eventually internalizes that role. The mob's violence failed to deter the petty thief. Instead, their strikes provided a lethal education, teaching Shankar that blunt force was the only authority that mattered. After fleeing his hometown, Shankar's childhood trauma evolved into a specific, lethal routine. He began a string of murders that baffled authorities for years. His attacks focused on one anatomical weakness, the temporal region beneath the ear. This unusually thin bone is a fragile shield for major arteries. A heavy blow here causes instant fractures and massive internal hemorrhaging, leading to death within minutes. Despite this surgical focus on the skull's weakest point, Shankar didn't use a specialized weapon. He simply used whatever heavy, blunt object he could find scattered on the ground before he struck. He turned the specific brand of head trauma he had survived as a child into a calculated killing technique. He was delivering the same blunt force the mob had once used on him. In September 1973, the predator crossed a line that the public could no longer ignore. He entered a holy Gurudwara in Sri Ganganagar under the cover of night, an act that turned local fear into national outrage. Morning staff found 3 caretakers lying on their cots. 2 were dead and 1 critically injured, all displaying the same crushing wounds beneath the ear. SP Shyam Pratap Singh arrived to coordinate the task force. In an era where forensic analysis was still in infancy in India, his team managed to secure a few vital clues: a set of bloody footprints and a single clear fingerprint on a ransacked tin box. A local resident reported seeing a suspicious stranger walking down the railway tracks toward a station in Bathinda. Police followed the trail, narrowing the search to railway hubs connecting the killer's crime scenes. The search ended in a Bathinda railway station. When a former neighbor saw the suspect in custody, Ratan Lal was finally revealed to be the boy from Jaipur, Shankar Prajapati. The same network of neighbors and witnesses that had once ostracized him was now the mechanism that brought his run to an end. During his interrogation, Shankar didn't try to hide. He openly mocked the officers, voluntarily confessing to 72 murders with a chilling sense of pride. His motive had shifted far beyond the need for food or money. He admitted that he had become addicted to the act of ending a life. He told the police that the screams of his victims felt like a song to him. He craved that sound, seeking out new targets just to experience the auditory rush of their terror. The starving child who stole chapatis to survive had been completely replaced by a man who now required human suffering to feel alive. The legal system responded with unprecedented speed. Following his confession and a rapid trial, Shankar was executed by hanging in May 1976. This final act of justice was measured and lawful, a stark contrast to the chaotic beatings that had defined Shankar's early years. While Shankar alone committed these crimes, his path was cleared by a society that chose mob violence over intervention. The strikes he received as a boy became the strikes he gave as a man. Justice that relies on the anger of a crowd only ensures the cycle of trauma continues, producing the very monsters the mob claims to be fighting.